It's a gift. Open a second, the beginning of Shat Kitab. How was the night in Israel? Quiet, more or less?
Go on, he's on the normal thing.
Is that the walk?
No, he's on. Just put it on a minute ago.
And then this morning.
Good morning, you said. Good morning. We missed
Just
it
had
a
a-
few days,
We
Joseph.
just had a meeting.
Joe told me that I shouldn't come for
I'll
3
tell you.
days. So I talked too much last week.
What'd you say?
He said that someone in the class said that he talks too much and he didn't come for 3 days. Come open, please, on page 1068.
Yeah.
Too much, take the Chumash.
No news, Rabbi.
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, no news.
All right, Joseph
Unless
just
something
threw you under
else
the bus.
goes up.
And what?
1068. So the Torah is the Torah is describing the man farmer who brings the bikurim. Yes. Listen carefully. We looked at the Rambam in details to understand exactly what he is saying. So we look a second at what he says. After he is reviewing the history of the Jewish people, okay? Then this is Bikurim. Yesterday we looked on Vidui Maaser. Every Erev Pesach or Erev Shvish Pesach, the third of the 6th year, everyone has to give out all the Maaser Rishon, Maaser Sheni, also a type of Vidui. So listen carefully what he says. Look, remember this. So we have a Vidui by Bikurim. This is basically, I'm reviewing the history of the Jewish people from the beginning of the nation. And here I'm acknowledging all the goodness by bringing the fruit. Then twice in 6 years, you have to say, I gave the Kohanim what they deserve. I gave the Levim what they deserve. I did exactly what I was supposed to do with my produce. So let's look at page 1070.
They do it after Pesach when they go for
They
Shalosh
do
Regalim
it,
Pesach.
they do it right before Shavisha Pesach and Pesach. Now you can do it before, but believe it or not, some people are doing it even today. But there's no Truma and Maaser. But in Israel, if you really take Truma and Maaser, you have a coin set aside to redeem the Maaser Sheni. So this coin has to be destroyed because you redeem it many times and you cannot give it to anyone. It's like the pure Maaser.
Rabbi, when we bring Bikurim or when we share the wool, the Shit Hagez, all that, is there also a statement?
It's a good, interesting question.
Is it like,
Jack is asking, let's say by Mitzvah Rashid Hagez, right? If you have five lambs and you're shearing them, you have to give the Kohen a certain amount. Over there, you're not saying anything. Why? Think for a minute. What is the idea by Bikurim? What is the common denominator of Bikurim and Vidui Maaser? It's my produce, my factory manufacturing. Yeah? And I was successful.
this is his sheep. This is
And
like
I
his
know-
flock.
You paid money or they gave birth because they made this. Your involvement in
Less than
much less.
Right.
And the thought,
So this is Kochiga Otzim
this is
Yadi.
basically what it is. Remember, if you are in a cultural society,
Yeah, we don't understand.
I mean, the man goes every day. He is plowing, he is grooming, he is.
Look what I did.
Look at mine. You know, the Sfat Emet says something very insight. He says, every morning we say, B'mizmor Todah, we say as follows. Mizmor Todah, Riu Hashem Kol Haaretz, Riu Hashem Tzimcha, Da'u, Ki Hashem Hu Elokim. Hu Asanu, V'lo Anachnu. Without looking in the Siddur, the V'lo Anachnu is written Vav Lamed Aleph or Vav Lamed Vav. I'll explain. אותנו, he created us,
The law.
ולא אנחנו, and we belong to him. This is the way it's written.
But you could also say
You
the
look-
law Anachnu wasn't us.
My friend, look in Sefer Tehillim. I looked because I saw the Fatwa. It says in Sefer Tehillim on the side, Ketiv, it's written with the Aleph, and you read with the Vav. Read it. You know the chapter. You are here.
Yeah.
Here, look at this. You see? הוא עשנו, ולא אנחנו, ראשית צל רב לנו, שמי צל.
They don't remember
The
the
ktiv is Vav Lamed Aleph. And the Kri, you know, this Father Met says, I mean, this is the typical Hasidic. He says, if you really believe that he did it, and you did not, Velo the Aleph, then Velo, then you belong to Hashem. Yes? It's very powerful. Right? Velo, Uasan, this is basically what Bikurim is. And this is basically what Vidui Maaser is. Vidui Maaser, remember, you're in the best time of the year, the Pesach or Sukkot, and the excitement, and you feel great. You should feel great. As long as you acknowledge. But this is really what it is. This is very important. Velo, it's little Vav Lamed Aleph, but when we say it with a Vav. As more as we feel that he did it, not we, then Velo, we belong to it.
It's amazing how much we don't know. Yeah, well, obviously.
Look a second now, page 1070, page 1070. Remember again, so this parasha is being read always at the end of the year. The beginning of the parasha is Bikurim, which normally was decided between Shavuot and Sukkot. This is the time that you bring the fruit, the produce, and today, twice in 7 years, on Pesach. So look a second, something new, totally new. Halachically. So, ואמרת, look at פסוק 13, ואמרת לפני השם אלוקיך, ביארתי הקודש מן הבית. I removed all the holy food that I was supposed to give others. A. B. וגם נתתי, and I gave it to ללוי, this is מעשר ראשון, ולגר, ליתום, ליתום ולאלמנה, בכל מצוותך אשר ציוויתני. Yesterday we looked in the Rambam, בכל מצוותך אשר ציוויתני, I did it in the right order, which means I have 1,000 pounds of grapes, 20% I gave to the Kohen, 10% I gave to the Levi. In this 10%, you take 10%, you give to the Kohen back, this is to what Maaseh. Then year 1, 2, 4, 5, you bring 10% to Yerushalayim and you share it with people or your family. The third and the sixth you give to the poor.
We have an obligation to give to Levi, but how come that he put in the same things with the first orphan and widows? Like
You have to take care of the orphan and the widow.
obligation, the other
The
one
Levi is in the same position. Yeah.
it's not obligation.
The Levi had nothing.
He's in need as well.
He didn't get a share in the land of Israel. And the Parasha said last week, Yishama, make sure that the Levi has what he has. In reality, the Levi didn't have anything.
No, we have a shiur for Levi. So like the other one, if it's an obligation and they gave you a shiur, and
No,
all the
but
other one, they don't say.
good question. By Ani, you also have to give on the third and the sixth year 10%.
But widow and almana doesn't have any shiur. They don't
Yes,
have.
it does.
No,
Last
you
year, 10%.
give the widow. I know a widow that the husband died at 34 and left her only $200 million. Oh, that's it.
But to Levi, if you say,
But there was no obligation to give her. It's much more. The answer is, if she is, regardless if she's a widow of a king or a widow of a wealthy guy, You have to be very careful how you talk to her because they are very sensitive and very important. Yes. ככל מצוותך אשר ציוויתני, we understand, לא עברתי ממצוותיך ולא שכחתי. מה זה ולא שכחתי? Very big problem. Look at the Rashi, please. לא עברתי ממצוותיך,
Which pasuk, Rabbi?
on the left, on the use on the left. לא שכחתי, on the fourth line on the left. ולא שכחתי מלברכך. Yes. לא שכחתי מלברכך. I didn't forget to make a blessing when I was separated from Omar Maaseh. Comes the Mizrahi, who is the main interpreter of Rashi. The brachot were established only in the beginning of the second temple by Ezra Obedin. All the brachot that we have. How can Rashi says, "V'lo shachachti," I didn't forget to make brachot as I was separated to Omar and
Oh, when it
Maaseh.
wasn't instituted.
There was no bracha. The concept of bracha was
Right,
instituted when Anshe Knesset Agdolah in the beginning of the second temple. You realize Jews are all over. So the idea of having a shul, the idea of praying 3 times a day, the idea of having the same text, the idea of having berachot, this is, and here Rashi in the text,
We say there was no written text, but the sentiment that somebody should feel, and only the rabbis put it into words.
like, in the middle, good, hear what it says?
You should, person should feel grateful, and I want to give kavod to where the source of all the blessing is.
But remember, the blessing here is the blessing before you do the mitzvah.
I don't mean the blessing, the bounty that came. You have to feel grateful. In human instinct, I would say.
But what he is saying, the Maharal says that even before it was instituted in the text, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Le'aniach Tefillin, everyone was commended before every mitzvah to say it in your own words. But here is the chidush. Yesterday, when we looked in the Rambam, we saw that it has to be this way. If you're missing something, you cannot fulfill this mitzvah.
Right.
If you think about it, and if the brachot, which means in the language that Rani says, which means before every bracha or every chesed or every kibul avahem that we do, there is a bracha. Hashem, thank you for. Remember, we are not tuned to it. By us, we work like machines. Okay, so the rabbis established and gave us that the concept is there, that the concept of bracha, which means thank you for giving me the opportunity, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Do this particular act for to be grateful for what I received.
But if you want, I'll take
But
that.
It's not ma'akev though, right? You're still allowed to, you're still
The
allowed to
reason-
do,
the
are you
reason-
still allowed to do mitzvah there?
The reason why I'm pointing it out here is if it's written by Vidui Maaser, and we looked yesterday in the Rambam, and every word in the order of the parasha is Ma'akev.
But here, if you look at the Ram,
Wait a second. So by Tfilin, it's not Ma'akev. By Mezuzah, it's not Ma'akev. But they say by Afrashat, Mod U'Ma'asrot, the Berachot is Kimat Ma'akev. Why? Because if the idea is to acknowledge, yes, right? By someone, if someone is giving to the poor and the needy, to the orphan, to the Levi, it's an opportunity to show that I really believe that it's from you.
Yeah.
And therefore I'm sharing it with those I have to.
but
Give- Open Rambam Sefer Rabbah, Chod Brachot. Yeah,
Rabbi Prague,
yes.
if they didn't want you to not mitzvah there, if you didn't make a bracha, the Rambam doesn't seem to say that in Maser Sheni, chapter 11, 15.
Very good, very good, okay.
Because he lists all the ones that you're not to be mitzvah then. So you got to tell okay.
Realize that this is why we looked with Rashi. It says, "Lo avarti mitzvotecha," right? V'lo shachachti, right? Rashi is the one that interpreted "V'lo shachachti milevarecha."
No, he says it too, the Rambam.
What does the Rambam say? Read over there.
V'lo shachachti, shelo shachach milevarcho ulahazkir shemo alav.
Coffee. So it says exactly as Rashi.
Wait, but then the Rambam goes, all the other examples, lo achalti ba'oni mimeni, eino mizvadeh. V'lo bi'arti min kodesh, eino mizvadeh. It's so interesting that there he says eino mizvadeh, but by shachach milevarcho, he doesn't mention mizvadeh or lo mizvadeh.
He says, the Rambam said that certain things if you forgot, don't say anything because you're missing.
Yeah.
But he's not saying it in the Barachot. In a minute you'll see in a second.
Give you a
Okay.
secular expression. If you want to tell somebody something nice and you're just calling it in, you're just doing lip service, it means nothing. Like, if your guy gets to make a speech, he doesn't have passion about his thing, he's just calling it in. If you don't have the meaning, what good are the words? I'm just wondering, is that a concept?
No, but he's
So if you
just
haven't
commenting
been on the
on
right
language
attitude,
of the Rambam.
what's the difference what you said and didn't say?
In a second, good. Shma tov. If someone did not say the bracha when he separated Truma, yes, he didn't say the bracha when he separated the maaser, then he did not fulfill the mitzvah. You understand? Rashi, it's not now. The Rambam cannot say no mitzvah there because if you didn't do it, your separation it affects the
count.
mitzvah.
It didn't count, okay.
In a minute, you'll see a Rambam and a Gemara. Look at the Rambam in Chod Barachot.
But in all the other mitzvot, if we don't say the beracha, the mitzvah counts.
Right,
Here,
right.
because the
You
Torah
know, we're
orders us
trying
to
to
make a
say
beracha.
that by a Frashat Trumot
This one is
U'Maasrot,
different.
and the idea is to express my gratitude. The bracha becomes part of the mitzvah.
So is it
Later, when
is a obligation?
everyone agrees that all Birkat HaMazon is the right, and then he say that Birkat HaTorah is also. In a minute. But the concept of me being thankful for being the mitzvah, this is the right, and not in the text.
Not the actual text.
Look at the Rambam, look here. Look at the Rambam, Perek Aleph, Hilchot Barachot. You know where to look. Good. Hilchot Barachot. Look at Perek Aleph. Look at the Rambam begins. מצוות עשה מן התורה לברך אחר אכילת מזון. Everyone knows it, yes. שנאמר ואכלת ושבעת וברכת. אינו חייב מן התורה אלא אם כן שבע. You have to be full. Okay, we said an old lady or an old man, they become full by twice. This is halachic discussion. Rambam bet. Maybe you have it. ומדברי סופרים מדרבנן לברך על כל מאכל תחילה ואחר כך ייהנה ממנו. וכן he says, אם הריח ריח טוב, יברך ואחר כך ייהנה. Say fine, okay, this is the fine. Now listen carefully. Now go to הלכה ג'. Remember, so up till now, the Rambam spoke about Birkot HaNehemim. Maybe you have the page on the top, maybe it's Reish Tetzayin, yes? Look at the top right, what's the page of Reish Tetzayin? Now the Rambam is moving into Birkat HaMitzvot, Tfilin, Mezuzah, okay? Ukeshem shemevarchim al ha'anah. The same way, we are commanded to make a beracha before we enjoy something in the universe. Kach mevarchim al kol mitzvah u'mitzvah. The same way I'm commanded to say a beracha before I eat cake. The same way I'm obligated ומצוות כן יעשה אותה. וברכות רבות יקנו חכמים דרך שבח בהודאה ודרך בקשה. The idea, said the Rambam, what's the idea of the ברכה? כדי לזכור את הבורא תמיד, אף על פי שלא נהנה ולא עשה מצווה. At the beginning of the spring, we have ברכת האילנות. Every month we have ברכת החלמה. I'm not doing anything. I'm acknowledging that I recognize the beauty of nature. Okay, I'm just reading further. נמצאו כל הברכות, if you divide all the ברכות to categories, 3 מילים, 3 types. ברכות הנאה, מתנות המוציא, ברכות המצוות, תפילין, וברכות ההודאה, שהן דרך שבח והודאה. אשר יצא,
That's what that.
תודה, כן.
So is the
Sure.
Rambam saying that is Birkat Hamazon is a Birkat HaMitzvah, correct?
It's really called Birkat Shevach, but the essence of the mitzvah is Shevach, but it's definitely not Birkat HaMitzvot. Birkat HaMitzvot is when you do an action. I'm
So-
putting it in here, my obligation is to verbally express my thanks for the good.
So why do you need then, why do some people bench ala kos if it's a Hanaya and it's not a Birkat HaMitzvot?
Are you asking now about why is Birkat HaMazon decided on a course?
I'm trying to understand where Birkat HaMazon fits into these 3 categories.
Well, of course it does, but it's above all of them because the Torah says you have to say bracha, yes?
Yeah, but the Torah's careful to say achar achilah.
Dual purpose. I guess it's
Okay,
dual
I
purpose.
skipped in the Rambam the part where the Rambam says, "Hashem shemitzvah levarech before." You go back to bed. וכן מדברי סופרים לברך אחר כל שיאכל או שישתה, והוא שישתה רביעית והוא שיאכל כזית, yes? You see in הלכה ב'? Now, here's the question now. When the Rambam began הלכה ג', he says, וכשם, the same way I make ברachot on food before I eat, before I smell, so is what is the common denominator between the two? Just the name bracha, bracha. Rav Soloveitchik says, people before him says, but he said very clear, the same way that I'm not permitted to taste the cake before the bracha, you cannot put tefillin before you do the bracha. This is the kashem. The same way that the bracha is matir, this apple for me, same way that the bracha is matir, the cake for me, the bracha is allowing me now to put the tefillin. Of course, Joseph is right. If you put tefillin without bracha, fine. Yeah, but it's not.
Well, but if you eat the apple
But
before you say the
this
bracha, you're in trouble.
is the point. This is the point. Now, this understanding of the Rambam goes back to what we started. The concept of being thankful for the mitzvah we saw in this week's parasha. The Rashi and the Rambam, it's really a Mishnah. The Mishnah in Maaser Sheni Perek Hey. I didn't forget to make the barachot. Which baracha? Before you do the mitzvah, acknowledge, yes? Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. I'll show you now that באמת is almost a Gemara מפורשת. I mean, everyone brings this Gemara. And Tosafot.
Rabbi Prague, was there a bracha on lechem on shtei halechem?
Good. Why do you ask Alechem Apanim? Every time the Kohen ate from any korban.
No, because I'm thinking of the word matir, because I know the matir applies to shtei halechem. That's why I'm asking.
It was definitely bracha, but you know how the bracha went? Rani this morning, Joseph this morning says, Asher Kidishanu b'kedushato shel Aaron. So Rani would say, Beit HaMikdash, Asher Kidishanu b'kedushato shel Aaron, v'tzivanu le'echol lechem hapanim.
So the answer is yes.
It's not me. I'll show you in the Rambam Melchot.
Yeah, I saw that. I remember that.
It's not a
Maaseh
meal.
HaKorbanot,
It's not a
every
meal.
time he ate kazayit of a korban, Asher Kidishanu b'kedushato shel Aaron, and I was commanded to eat this piece of meat.
It's not a meal, it's a.
What did we do when on the night of Pesach? What did you do before you ate the korban Pesach? Let's see if you have it in this volume. Oh, no, okay. The Rambam said, no. Before you ate the Korban Pesach in the Seder, you have to say Asher Kedishanu. Before you eat the maror, you make a bracha, yes?
Yeah.
Before you eat the Korban Pesach, say Asher Kedishanu, Mitzvotav V'tzivanu Le'achol Korban Pesach.
So if you ate it without beracha, what happens?
Nothing.
So it doesn't come
The
as you
same,
ate.
the same as what happened if you eat breakfast today.
So if I-
Wow, it's a me'ila, isn't it?
Amosi, I ate and then I cannot make Birkat Hamazon,
Yes,
You
you
can.
make, of course you make
Of course
Birkat
you make it.
Hamazon.
but we didn't.
Okay, so you
it
didn't do it,
count
but you
that I
still have to
ate.
make Birkat Hamazon.
If you didn't eat or you
One
didn't
has
eat.
to do with the other.
We are saying every time, I mean, look at Bli Ayin Hara this morning, look at the preparation for the wedding. What difference does it make if the floor looks like that? So it's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't know.
The answer is every mother.
It's a plastic color.
Yeah,
Oh,
looks like
Joseph-
tile.
Joseph
Looks like tile.
Huh?
Don't tell me what plastic, it's too cheap.
It's like real tile.
The main thing is, yesterday they didn't have it, tomorrow they wouldn't have it. I have a different way. So this way we pay $100,000 more. I'm laughing. The answer
So
is,
Rabbi, get together and forbid it.
the answer,
Get together, you
I would
rabbis.
never do it, only
can't
only if the
rabbis.
100,000 to be going to the poor and the needy.
Yeah.
So
I would say every wedding over $150,000, you have to give 20% in advance. To what do you have to Shabbat, Bikur Cholim, whatever you want. This is exactly what they do. People with the payot. When you marry off your daughter, you pay for a full wedding of a poor and the needy. Every man is out. I'm talking people.
but the same standard. If you made $1 million wedding, you're gonna make four
No,
wedding
no.
for
You
Yes.
cannot force a poor man to make it $250,000. You call up a guy, I'm paying you the bills for. I think this is what they do for the last 150 years. In every Hasidic wedding in the past, used to have special tables for the poor and the needy. And we don't understand it. In regular cities, people were hungry. I went once to a wedding of a very good friend of mine, the wedding of his daughter. I came early, a good friend, a man from the street, Joseph, I never forget it. Comes to him and says, are you, he says, yes. Can you give me permission to eat? I give me supper. I said, B'chavod. He took him to the table, he told the waiter, give him double and everything.
Yeah.
Very touched. This is what the Jewish wedding is. Hashem bless you, you're happy. David really did with the bar mitzvah of your first child. When David made bar mitzvah for his first son, he paid for a bar mitzvah in Israel for
There was organization, when I go to Pulling,
Exactly,
we went to
yeah.
organization, we paid for some.
and you know that there is an organization in Israel. But Joseph is right. You're not. I know a fellow that took his family to Florida for Pesach, but he was a big family. Told me it's a lot of money. He says dollar for dollar, I gave you 4 Pesach, the same amount of money.
Wow.
Rambam says you can go to Pesach unless this is the Jewish way of looking at life. There's nothing wrong going to Florida with your family.
There is something wrong, Rabbi. Jewish way is not to show up and waste money like that.
Who says
But you have to take care of the poor
condition.
people.
who says to show off?
But if you're taking care of the poor people, you're doing something right with his money.
Joseph,
Sure,
Joseph, do you see my car, Joseph? I will give you a picture because it's a little embarrassing. It's a bit up. The car
But it's
drives.
better than the other
No,
car.
wait, the car drives. Person that buys a car for $80,000, right? It's a $60,000 difference in the price. This 60 could have gone to. I went to many weddings, Baruch Hashem, and Bar Mitzvot, and people spent money. I forgot all of them the next morning. I forgot them. One I remember 4 years ago. Listen good. The man was in real estate, and his wife was a professional. And he makes a bar mitzvah for the first child, and you expect, fancy. A simple bar mitzvah. The father gets happy here, and he says like this, as you know, me and my wife can afford a much fancier. I want to price out. How much is it? Fancier bar mitzvah. Different in price at that time, 4 years ago, was $25,000. He says, we figured, what's the point for 4 hours? Takes out an envelope, he says, here is a check that I wrote for the school of my son. He gives it to the bar mitzvah boy, here, give it to the principal. Everyone in the room remembers it for him. he remains there. But his son, by now, is probably 50, in the 50s, never forget either. Abba Shiri in the Bar Mitzvah didn't take another photographer, didn't bring more flowers. Gave me a check, responsible to show him how much he appreciated. This is the challenge of life.
It's the duty of the rabbis.
No one listens to
Lower the
one.
standard.
No one listens. No one listens to one word. Joseph. No one listens. The rabbis are. Next week we have an election. He's the chief rabbi, right? When he comes, will come to America. Everyone will kiss him. Who elects him? Who elects him? 140 people. Mayors of every city in Israel will eat cheeseburgers for supper every night. 2/3 of them don't give any mitzvah. But this is the whole Israel. The answer is, I select the music that he's going to play for me. Ram Ovadia didn't have a choice. And he played his music, not their music, yes? Why now? You're making such a big in Israel, it's a big issue. Because they realized that Chacham Yitzchak said certain things that you like at all. He came out
It's
publicly,
political.
don't go up to the area of Bet HaMikdash, it's asur. Yeah, he said what the rabbi should say. So the government makes sure that he's not playing the music anymore. You know? That the rabbi is saying. People talking shul, every rabbi spoke about it. Okay, so less people talk, but Shulchan Aruch says, Joseph, we learned the other day, Lashon Hara, Gilui Arayot, Shfichut Damim, equal. We have 10 days, 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. For 2 weeks, let's speak less Lashon Hara. It's easy to blame. The Chokhmah is if you talk in the table about it, again, not to talk about this guy that spends the day, whatever. It's a pressure of society. It's a pressure of
It's
society.
peer pressure.
The rich
The
should
kid
do the
will-
wedding, but the one who doesn't have it, if the rabbi says that
No,
you
but
should make a
since-
wedding more than
I know,
$50,000.
Joseph,
Themselves have to do.
Joseph.
Be smart enough to
Joseph,
do it on your
part
own.
of the challenges that we have in life is called peer pressure. It's called peer pressure. Peer pressure. If he does it, everyone likes to feel, I'm also something. But again, you see the fine balance. Many used to be, not anymore, used to be offensive Ashkenazi. In the place of the flowers, there was a note. Instead of paying $120 for a bouquet, the money was given to these organizations who rented us the flowers.
Aren't flowers ma'akev?
The photographers are me'akev. Today's photographers. The flowers are secondary. Anyway, the Gemara in Berachot after Tvav seems to almost say openly, listen to what the Gemara is talking about, a man who is deaf. Can he be mafrish teruma or not? So the Gemara is equating it. I brought the Gemara, but as the Gemara is equating it to someone who is a machloket if you say Shema and you cannot hear what you said, you're or not. But the Gemara says, listen good now, even the one that says that if you say Shema and you don't hear, you are not Yotzeh, might say that a deaf man can be mafrish teruma, but he doesn't hear the beracha. He doesn't hear the beracha, says the Gemara, Kriyat Shema is min Torah. The beracha is min the Rabbanan. Says Rabbi Yehuda HaChassid, one of the Rishonim, you see clearly in the Gemara, if the beracha would be min Torah, if you are not doing it, the mitzvah is not the mitzvah. Again, the Gemara says the only reason here why a deaf man can be mafrish teruma, which means, and he's saying the bracha, he doesn't hear it. It's only because the bracha is the Rabbanan. Achma is the right, it's a problem. Yes? You see clearly, so 4 of them go down, 2 stay here.
Okay. You don't see the clock.
Yeah, I'm living now. So everyone brings a raya from this Gemara that this is what Rani said before, that the root of the bracha is the oraita, not the text of the bracha. Have a wonderful day.
Rabbi, you
I'll see you tonight, Rabbi Barak.
7 years, is there any connection between that and the law of, you're supposed to check it twice in
It's
7
an
years?
it's an interesting thought.
Okay.
I mean, if,
Better today.
no, it's an interesting